Alright, man, check it out. Let's talk about a few upgrades that are good for the Jato and you can still actually get. Some are a little more scarce than others, but all in all, reasonably priced. I mean, except for the one, I think. But yeah, good upgrades. So this one is the hot racing metal transmission gears. Got steel with an aluminum and steel diff. The diff itself is aluminum. The gear on the diff is steel. All the rest of the gears are steel. These are pretty pricey. It's $100 to put these in your transmission, but you don't really have to worry about blowing up a gear again. I don't know if you've done that yet. If not, you will, for sure. But yeah, that's a great upgrade to put in your tranny on your Jato. The part number. I'll also put it down in the description. Yeah, so there's that one. Let's talk about this one. Everybody knows, if you have a Jato, and the brakes suck. We'll get into that later, because you can actually adjust those brakes and make them work really good, the stock ones. Just nobody really knows about it. Nobody's really posted about it. You can't find anything on it. So we'll get into that. I'll post it. But there's a brake upgrade for the Jato, which again is on the mild price side. I don't know. I kind of think it's a little pricey, but it's actually not too bad. It's like 45, 50 bucks. You get you the dual metal disc, carbon fiber pad, brake upgrade for the Jato. I mean, it works great. It's a lot better than the stock for sure, no matter what. But again, you can adjust the stock brakes to make them work really good. Now, when you're talking a little car that fast, even if you're gonna upgrade to these hot racing double disc brakes, when you're talking 50, 60 miles an hour and you hit the brakes, even if you hold it straight, it's not really just gonna stop. And one of the best things you're gonna get overall is locking up the rear tires and learning the turn around and whip. You know, you lock up the rear tires, hit the steering, flip around, you stop. You'll stop almost instantly. The more you practice, the better you'll get at it. That's how I do my brakes on all of my cars. I adjust them to lock up, and I turn and whip. Stop instantly. You can see it in one of my other videos I posted, or a couple of them, whatever, how I just turn and whip, and I stop instantly no matter how fast I'm going. So that's a good upgrade. It's not necessary, but it is good. One of the other ones that I think is absolutely a great upgrade overall is the Traxxas CVD rear drive shafts. These are a great upgrade. Sometimes upgrading to these will lock your diff just by upgrading to these, but not always. And we can get into locking diffs later if you guys want to see it. You let me know, comment, let me know what you want to see overall, honestly. These CVD drive shafts are really hardy. They help put the power down a little more even, a little better. I recommend locking the diff, because we all know if you have a Jato, if your tires don't hook up, only one of them is going to balloon out, and you're just going to flip around in a circle, right? We all know that. So if you lock the diff, you have a lot better chance of hooking up, especially if you're running like Anacondas and you're on a semi-smooth surface, rather it's asphalt, concrete, whatever. If you lock the diff and you're able to put the power down to both tires, it's a lot better about hooking up. But I mind you, if you get onto a surface that's even got a tiny bit of grip, you're gonna wheelie, and you're probably gonna wheelie over, and you're probably gonna wheelie constantly. That's what the Jato does. So yeah, these CVD drive shafts are, they're amazing. I've got them on a few of my cars, and I'm gonna put them on a couple more. A couple that I'm gonna build, a couple that I already have built. I'm gonna put them on. They're about 50 bucks. Again, I'll put the part numbers in the description so you guys can check it out. Now, again, if you have a Jato, you know them control arms are trash. You bump into a little tiny thing, not even going that fast, and they're liable to break, right? Yeah, we all know that. We all know that. Same with that front bumper. But I highly recommend, highly recommend the RPM control arms. A-arms, sorry. The RPM A-arms. These things are absolutely amazing. The only RPM A-arms I've seen break on a Jato are the ones that you could get in blue, because you can't get them anymore. They discontinued the Jato blue A-arms. So, but those are the only ones I've ever seen break. But these guys, they have a warranty. It's a really good warranty overall. It's supposedly covered for the life of the A-arms that you have them, whatever. But if you read the print in there, it's, you know, it's a little worded a little strange as far as how they say they'll cover it and whatnot, what have you. So if you're really worried about the warranty on them overall, I mean, I suggest you read that. But man, I've been running these RPM A-arms on my cars for years, and I have it on every one of my Jatos for the most part. If they're my personal Jatos that I'm not like building for somebody or just tinkering with the build, like I'm keeping it, I've had them, whatever, I put RPMs on it straight away. If I get a Jato that I'm gonna keep and it has stock A-arms, the first thing I do is yank those stock A-arms off and I put RPMs on there. Highly recommend these. If you don't want to change A-arms, I highly recommend these. Highly recommend these. I'll show you a little comparison here. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm experimenting with cameras here, so bear with me. Well, one thing that the RPM A-arms do is it eliminates your sway bar, which, in all honesty, I don't think those sway bars do much on the Jato. You're better off just tuning your suspension with your shocks and whatnot. So yeah, that's your RPM A-arm. That's the right. Just like the Traxxas ones, they're labeled with a letter. That's your right, and you got your left. Same thing. This is your stock TRX A-arm, right? And if you compare these overall, aside from the plastic they're made of, polymer, these things are beefy. Like all the way around. They're structurally way beefier than the stock TRX A-arms. I mean, they are great, man. I've hit things, people have hit me. I've rolled hardcore, as you could see in the one video I posted. Ooh, that one was good. Anyways, yeah. So these things all the way around are just beasts. They are heavy duty. They are strong. They are lightweight. I would go as far to say that these are almost as strong as aluminum arms, or have the potential strength of aluminum arms with less weight. They are absolutely amazing. I promise you, if you are tired of braking control arms, if braking A-arms has discouraged you from wanting to drive your car as much, put these on there. You will no longer be discouraged. There's your front one. It's your RPM, front. That's your Traxxas, front. Hopefully you guys can see this. But them RPM arms are just absolute beasts compared to stock. They are amazing, man. I love them. I love them so much I keep them on hand for new builds, repairs, whatever. But they usually go on new builds or new cars that I get. So yeah, highly recommend those. Highly recommend those. I'll put the part numbers down in the description so you guys can get those if you want. You can get right online to RPM's website. They'll send them right to you. They're really, really, really well priced, honestly, dude. They're like 12 bucks a set, so 24 bucks front and rear. It's pretty much what you're gonna pay to have near indestructible control arms. I promise you, you'll break other things before you break these. I've been thoroughly impressed and shocked, quite frankly, over the years. Another thing I highly recommend is replacing your front bumper with the RPM wide front bumper. They're heavy duty. They can take some blows. It's nice because it kind of helps protect your spindling carriers in the front. And like I said, they can take a bashing, man. They're obviously much bigger than the stock ones. Much bigger than the stock ones. And made out of the same material as the A-arms. And just absolutely amazing, just like I said. Just like the A-arms. The A-arms are so incredible. And this bumper is too, quite frankly. I love the RPM A-arms and bumper upgrades for the Jato, dude. They're essential. For me, they are essential. They're a must. I will not own one that doesn't have these done to it. And I mean, like, instantly, almost before I drive it. I mean, I will drive it to see how it's ripping whatever, what it needs, but for the most part, I will yank these off and throw them right in the bin over there with the other 20, 25 pairs that I have, you know? Yeah, so there's those. We'll get into adjusting the brakes, maybe in another video, maybe in this one I'll kind of cover it a little bit, and then I'll do a more detailed version video. So let's talk about performance upgrade. There's a couple of them that you can do. The OS 11K carburetor. This is supposed to wake the 3.3 right up, like hardcore wake up, mid-range power, getting after it. The OS 11K carb. Sometimes they can be a little bit of a pain to track down, and quite frankly, these things are expensive. I mean, it's all aluminum. It's bigger in and out overall than the TRX carb. I currently am not running one. I have a couple to run, but I'm not running one. I will eventually. but I've never had problems with the stock carb. I got into other types of modifications and changes and tuning over the years that has had me very well satisfied. So this is supposed to wake your 3.3 right up. So we'll find out eventually, and I'll make a video of it. I'll post it. But those are $100, the carbs. So maybe you want to check that out. There's one out of the bag. I mean, it's beastly. All the way around. You look down the throat. Yeah, that's your stock. 11K. Another one that is my personal favorite is this guy right here. So this is a top plate brace. And if you've ever crashed your Jato and you've crashed it well enough, you know that those stupid tabs, they connect to the front bulkhead, they snap, they break, which then affects your steering. It's all part of the structural integrity of it, whatever, what have you. And being that this is what it is, you have to take everything off of the car to change this. And it sucks. It sucks. So this goes on there and stops that from happening. These things are absolutely amazing. They're a little on the higher side as far as price goes. So they're $40 plus shipping. Let me know if you're interested. I got a line on these. You won't be able to find these, but I know where to find them and get them. So just leave a comment or whatever if you're interested in acquiring one. I can help you get that, make that happen. But you don't ever want to change that top plate again because you bumped into something and you broke the tab, and you want one of those. I also have those on every one of my cars. All my personal cars have those. Every one of them. So, yeah, there's that. Well, let's talk about these brakes a little bit. So, one of the things with the stock brakes, you know, everybody knows they suck, dude. You get your car, they suck. They don't stop. Everybody swears that there's no way to make them work, whatever, what have you. And the biggest problem that everybody runs into is they just want to tighten that little adjuster up by the servo. And then they want it to still work better by just tightening that. It's going to take you a lot more than just tightening an adjuster and shortening the linkage, more or less. One of the things that ends up happening with these levers and the cam, being that it's plastic and it's Traxxas plastic, let's get real, is this will start to get stripped out and loose. Which really kind of sucks, because you got to be real careful. You know, you tighten this nut too much, and then it blows out the slotted cam hole. So one of the things you want to do is make sure that this is actually tight and not moving in there, right? See, like this, you can see. This is brand new. It's probably hard to see. So that plate right there, and this darn cam lever, is going to be your first devil and demon causing your brakes not to work or work insufficiently. You want to tighten that up and get rid of that, but not too much, because then you'll ruin the cam lever and you'll have to get a new one. And you can't just buy that. You gotta buy a whole freaking parts kit that comes with it's like the linkage, the cam lever, the other little Y link on the other side. Yeah, it's a whole little thing anyways. So that right there will be your first crappy part of your brakes and the first failure that's making them suck, or suck even worse. So I mean, it's kind of a terrible design overall, or the placement of that is terrible. They should have put it out a little more. If you've ever looked at it enough, you've noticed that most of the time that lever runs into the side of the transmission, which makes them not get any tighter, right? Right. One of the things you could do is, where do I got that? So you get you stick of square, stainless steel, aluminum. I would recommend getting aluminum. It dissipates the heat a little faster. If anything, I would say stainless steel, so it doesn't corrode in there, because that'll be a pain in the butt. So you could cut this down and make it just a little bit longer than your stock one, right? And clean it up and make it to where it fits in your little slot in your tranny and does its job, whatever. That's one of the things you can do. I've done it to a couple of them. It works good, but it still requires the right adjustment. Now, when you're talking about this little pusher here, I've seen them be both ways from the factory, and the one thing I've noticed is, for some reason, I feel like they work better when you put the hole out. I've seen a couple of things that have showed that that's the way they're supposed to be. That's the way I prefer them to be. So that's how I do it. And I just run the stock ones. So I don't put the double disc on all my cars. I mean, that's a little too much for me, especially, you know, you're talking 10, 12, 13 cars, whatever. You know, you see a lot of people talking about flipping the lever online or whatever, what have you. It's still, when they're improperly adjusted, they still don't work right. Still gonna suck. Oh yeah, there's another thing. Talk about that too. Where's that guy? Anyways, so you want to obviously make sure you have a good pad, a good disc and good pads. That's pretty essential overall. And same with your pads. You want to make sure you have good pads. They don't have to be brand new, but I mean, if you're starting to wear a groove in them that has grooves, I think it's time to probably look into getting new ones, right? Another thing that you could get, which is a nice little cool upgrade just because it's aluminum, right? It's an aluminum upgrade. And everybody loves the aluminum upgrades. You can still find them, but these cute little disc adapters that go in here off of the shaft, you can get those, upgrade those. Those are nice to do and have. So yeah, but when you're talking adjusting these brakes, you can do it and make them work amazing. Like I said, all my cars, they lock up. They stop real well. Most of them have stock brakes. Okay? And I assure you, if you do this properly, your lever will maintain great spacing away from your housing. Great spacing. Another thing with these pads, when and if you're replacing them, you'll notice that one has more of a shiny or what looks to be a finished side, and one isn't. The one that looks a little less finished and a little less cute goes towards the pad. Put your pad on there. And if you're replacing your pad, when you're replacing it, try to keep it tight on that disc, or on that biscuit adapter. Try not to blow it out too hard and make it all floppy wobbly. It kind of helps. I mean, it doesn't matter overall because of the way you adjust it in the end is what is really going to matter. But I mean, it makes it a little better when you're talking about stopping and whatnot. Give a shout out to Red Man from Red's Way YouTube channel. Go check him out, man. Give him a like and subscribe. He posts some pretty cool stuff. Yeah, shout out to him. You know, shout out to Jenny's RC Online. I use them for a lot of my stuff too. If you guys are looking for Jato, T-Max, I mean, I'm really anything, dude. I would go straight to Jenny's RC Online. They are amazing. So this is another thing I highly recommend. If you guys do a lot of playing with your cars and whatnot, turning those freaking Allen wrenches and nut drivers by hand, you know, hands start to get tired, especially when you have, you know, an arsenal of Jatos, let alone everything else. I got two different kinds. You can get all of this on Amazon. Just check out Amazon, search electric screwdrivers. They are absolutely amazing. I wish I would have bought these sooner than I did, but it's okay, I have them now. They're great. I highly recommend them. Just remember, plastic and aluminum. You still have to be careful. So on these, since it's such a tedious adjustment, and it's got to be, you know, not precise, but I mean, come on, it's got to be pretty good. And you can do this on the car. It's a little bit harder, but it's doable. So then I'm going to switch over to the manual Allen wrench here, because that's the best thing to do with these brakes. But what you're looking to do is push your little excuse my language. Push your little square bar in there, and make sure it's like flush in there, as much as you can get, right? And one of the things you're going to want to do is make sure you maintain level across here. So what I like to do is I just push on the pads there, pushing it up against that, keeping it in, and allowing me to stay level. So I just do that, and then you just want to tighten this down to that. Tighten your screws down to the pads while you've got that level. So now we're dragging. But this is a healthy level of drag, especially being that you got a brand new disc, you got brand new pads. So this is a healthy level of drag here. Now, I wouldn't want to start with that, because it might cause issues with like burning the pad. So what you want to do is just back each screw up a tiny bit and free it up. Now when you've got it pretty free, that's where you want to leave it. Excuse me. So now we're rolling freer. Still kind of got a little drag there. We're going to go a little tiny more. Now I'm barely bumping these out, so keep that in mind. There we go. Now look, I've got that all sucked down, and you can see I have got great space in between my lever and my tranny housing. Now these things are going to lock up as soon as you put this tranny on there, connect everything on there, and then tighten your little spring down a little bit. Like, these are going to lock up. Like, lock up. Now you don't have to necessarily have them lock up, and you can fix that with your adjustment knob on your servo at that point. That's what that's for. But when you're talking about the Jato brakes and them not working, they really suck. This is why. This is why they suck. Those pads have got so far to be sucked down to actually touch down and be pushed on by that little square bar, that you're out of square bar and brakes really before you even get them applied. So this is what you want to do with your Jato brakes, and you just want to make sure that you've got a nice even parallel line with your pads overall. I would recommend making sure your little square bar, the hole in it, is facing out. And like I said, if your pad looks burnt, replace it. I don't have a burnt one anymore. I used to have a burnt one. Yeah, just replace it. And your disc and your pads, just replace them if they don't look that great, or if you just want to start over, replace them. I promise you, if you do this to your Jato brakes, you will save yourself $50 and you will stop. You will stop. It will lock up. And if you don't want it to lock up, then just adjust it out on your servo. It's your little spring tensioner adjuster. You will stop. So that's how you do that. Like I said, you can do it on the car. I do it on the car. Unless I'm replacing the tranny for whatever reason, or I'm building a car, then I do it off the car. But I always just do it on the car. And it'll work great. I promise. I promise it will work great. Like I said, look at the space you got in there. And as soon as you touch that, like, it's touching down. It's pushing on those. It's pushing on those pads. And that's where the problem lies with these. It's like the little biscuit, the little square bar, isn't long enough, and they've got it so far out that your cam lever is touching down on the transmission housing, and the car's still rolling down the road as you've got 100% brakes applied. So there's that. Let me know what you guys think. You know, throw me some likes, shares, comments. Let me know what you want to see next. Let me know what you may need help with. I pretty much know everything there is to know about these Jatos, including where to find, you know, hard to find parts, whatever. Yeah, I'll be posting some more videos of other things, some builds and whatnot. I'll do a motor tear down and assembly, which is very, very straightforward. You know, we'll get into some other things later, like tuning and actual modding of the motors, the sleeves, and things like that. So, yeah. Let me know what you guys think.